Hello. In this video, we'll be looking at material handling at site. So when we talk about material handling, it is all about the transport of material, loading of material, unloading of material, and transport inside the site and from outside to inside the site as well. So all these things constitutes and compile to become the material handling concept inside. So let's understand in detail about material handling. And the first thing that we need to know about material handling is the equipments. So when we talk about equipments, these are basically designed for heavy duty vehicles, especially for operating construction tasks or moving and transporting the materials or even doing earthwork operations. So either construction task, transit or earthwork operations is where we use majority of the equipments in construction site. Now, few commonly used construction equipment. The first one is TLB, which is tractor, loader, and backhoe. So tractor, loader, and backhoe means it is a mixture of tractor, mixture of loader, and a backhoe. This is what we, in general, in India, we use the term JCB. But trust me, JCB is just a brand. It is not the entire thing. So sometimes it is also called as earth movers or backhoe loaders. The second one is a front end loader. This is something that we'll be seeing, especially in the mining sector and wherever there is a huge site and transportation is required, because front end loader is a very fast vehicle compared to the backhoe loader or the TLB. So wherever there is space required, wherever there is speed required in transportation of material, front end loader is something that we look at. The next one is excavator. This I think we have already seen here. This is used especially in mining, especially in huge infra projects, underwater, underground kind of projects as well, tunnel. So all these places, wherever you need to excavate the soil, you will have very commonly used excavators. Next, we look at dumping truck. This is something that once the excavator excavates, it will be put in dumping truck if you are going to transport the material for a longer distance. If it is just from one part of the site to another part of the site, we use loaders. But if you are using some material to transport for a long amount of time and distance, then it is preferable to have dumping trucks. Dumping trucks cannot have loading options, but dumping truck do have unloading options because it has a lever which inclines and through gravity will dump all the materials. The next one is this scoop tram. Scoop tram is normally used in roadway projects wherever there you need to excavate a small thickness but for a very huge length. So excavator is used when you need depth. Scoop tram is used when the depth is less but the length is more. Next we get into forklift. This is something that is used in storage. So in storage, if you want to keep a material or a equipment or a tool on the top end of the shelves, then you use forklift to lift any equipment or a material. So if you're transporting a lot of granite or tiles or bricks, all those things can be used through forklift. Similar thing in your infra projects will be bobcat, where you don't take a lot of quantity. It's a small quantity, but slightly faster moving and very agile, so that it needs very small space also. The next one will be mobile crane. So mobile crane will be something that you will require in site if you need it in 3 to 4 places. Mobile crane you'll not be using for very high top skyscrapers. It will be used only for up to 8 to 9 floors. But if you want to move around the building, depending on the job site layout. So in the previous videos, we saw about the job site layout where the crane will be. That is something that needs to be decided. The next thing will be a bulldozer. The next thing will be a bulldozer, and that is something that we all know of. This is not to exactly excavate and dump it. This is just to transfer the entire surface of soil or any material which is on the land. That is why you'll be using the bulldozer. Next, we come into tower crane, where we are looking at skyscrapers. So wherever there are skyscrapers, that is where we look at tower cranes, where you need it to be fixed and the access point is very tall. Hence, you will be looking at tower crane, which will be 360-degree access as well. Then we look at grader. Grader is for your roadways, where you will be putting the material. It will grade the whole thing, sieve the whole thing, and it will lay the road and will be taking away all the other things. Either that is one of the add-on, or if you go for the default graders will be just to filter out the big stones out of it. So if you have any big rocks and stones, it will grade it out, and only the smaller gravel will be left. So this is going to help in the leveling process in the highways or roadways. Next we go for reach truck. Reach truck again is very similar to forklift, but smaller in size, and the travel is not so much. In reach truck, you will be looking at 360-degree movement, but not exactly long distance movements. Next, we go for roller, which we always seen, especially as a road roller. So you will be seeing it for bitumen roads. You'll also be seeing sometimes for paver blocks or any other kind of non-bitumen roads as well. So this is something that we should know about the most commonly used construction equipments. Now let's see what is it that we actually use it for. So construction equipment performs. The first is the loading and unloading materials. Huge aspect in construction. Whenever the project size is big, we will need continuous usage of transportation of materials. And without these kind of equipments, it is very tough to transport materials through manual labor. Hence, equipments and vehicles becomes very important aspect. The second one will be in terms of driving material and tools into and out of the site. So, which is basically transport of not just materials, but also tools and equipments. Let's say a machine needs to be transported, a concrete mixer needs to be transported, painting machine needs to be transported, plastering machine needs to be transported, a UTM or a CTM machine should be transported. So all those machinery transport, material transport into the site and away from the site, all those things will be used through construction equipments. Next one will be to move from one location to other. First is loading, unloading. Second is inside to outside, outside to inside. Third is moving inside the site itself. So different equipments will be used from the inside and outside travel versus the only inside travel. So if it is only inside the site, you will be using the smaller equipments or smaller vehicles. If you are looking at outside to inside and inside to outside, then you will be using the bigger vehicles. The next aspect of construction equipment or vehicles here is feeding material into machine for processing. Sometimes machines are already available. So machines are already available to feed it, let's say like a dump truck. So dumpers or dump truck will be dumping the material into a machine. Sometimes sand, M sand, GGBS, cement, whatever it might be. It will dump it into the machinery and it will help the machine work well. So that is also a way of performance. Next, handling of raw materials by transporting to another location for processing. So this example we can give it through cranes. Not every time does crane transport from one place to another place. Sometimes it is from one place to fitting it as well. So a lot of times cranes will carry the glass with the vacuum seals, and the glazing operational officers will receive it and directly install it as well. So if you have seen the glazing of high top buildings in the world, the skyscrapers of the world, you will see that especially in the glazing work, the crane will do most of the work. So crane operator has to get the glass into the exact point. There, the glazing workers will take it and fit it. So that also is a huge performance that is given by construction vehicles or equipments. Then if you have to level the field, if you have to excavate, if you have to backfill, if you have to cut down trees or any other vegetation, that is when you will be using these kind of vehicles as well. So this is how we can get to know about the construction equipments. Now let's understand the cash flow or in terms of the process flow. The first thing that we need to understand is the project plan. So based on the project plan, which is given by the planning team, we will be looking at mobilization. So that means how many laborers have to come, what kind of machinery is required, how many machineries are required, what are the engineers, how many engineers are required. So once that requisition is done, we'll allocate. Allocation means, okay, these many engineers for first month, these machinery we need for first month, for third month we need this equipment, for sixth month we need this equipment. That is called allocation. So based on that allocation, you'll start hiring. So hiring as in either in terms of resource hiring or material hiring. Material hiring or equipment hiring, let's say. Equipment hiring, you can either buy it or take it on rent or lease it. Alright, so it's called make, buy or lease. So either you can only produce the equipment. So for example, L&T has their own equipments. They don't buy other equipments. So they have their own equipments. However, other companies like HCC or a JMC, they go for different company equipments. So you can either hire, make or lease. So that will go for that you need quotation once you compare and then you hire the orders. Here we come down below the allocation, you will be looking at purchase requisition. Purchase requisition means how much of money is required and how exactly can we fund it. Based on that, we'll be looking at transfer request. If you have any equipment coming from any other site, which is free, which is not being used, which is idle, that can be transferred to your site as well. Hence, the receipt will be given. So either from the transfer, there will be a receipt, and one from the buying of the equipment, you will have the receipt. So from buying of the equipment, you have the order and the order amendment if there are any changes, and you get the receipt. Once you get the receipt, you will be getting the stock as well. Stock as in the equipment. Once the equipment comes, in the bottom you can see stock. So once the equipment comes, it is considered as stock. So one is the maintenance of it. So you should calibrate it, you should put the oil, you should check all the levels, engine, all those things need to be checked. That is the machinery status. The other one is the usage log. Usage log means how are we using it? What is the productivity of the machine? How many hours per day are we using it? Imagine if you spend 1 crore on equipment, but you use only once in 1 month, then it doesn't make sense. Instead, you could have rented it, correct, per hour basis. So that is something that we compare using the usage log, and based on that, we'll be taking the bill and we'll be looking at payables to the client as well as the maintenance costs. And with the maintenance cost, we'll be looking at the advance as well. So sometimes if you take it on a rent, you will have to give a deposit or an advance. So this is how the process flow happens for equipments. All right. So once the bills are paid, that means the contract is done. If it is a rental, if it is a buy, then it's only one-time payment. All right. So this is how the process flows in construction equipments. All right. So I hope you understood the processes. In the coming video, we'll be looking deeper into other things in construction, the layouts, and every other aspect of site management. So see you in the next video.